Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We'll do a quick roll call here to determine the quorum. Councilor Baumgartner here, Evers here, Ferguson here. I'm here, Howard here. We are all here. We do have a quorum. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin the meeting here with the public forum portion of the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to address council on any issues out there. We do limit the speaking times to 3 minutes. But we will, if the issue is unresolved after 3 minutes, we'll definitely take the issue offline with the member of the community and do some problem solving and work towards a resolution. So we'll close down the regular portion of the meeting here and open up the public forum. Ask the public when they come forward to please state your name for the meeting minutes. I think you guys are probably here to observe. So
do you guys want to come and say something? Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, the late ones.
Has everyone else introduced themselves already?
Yep.
No. What you know in there? Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. Okay. I'll have a seat. Most of you know me, I think you do. Kurt Reese, I've practiced law probably in this town since '82. I'm kind of semi-retired now, and I took on a new gig. And because somebody called me and said, we could stand a pastor at a church.
Oh.
And I said, okay, well, let me call you back so I don't drive off the road. And so that's kind of what I do. I'm kind of part-time pastor now, as well as I still kept up my law license. So that's kind of what I do. If some of you don't know what I do in town here. But I was going to come and complain about something, but I think I want to turn it into a conversation with you guys. And it's something that's probably pretty popular today, I think, right on the news today. It's about affordability. Right now we're dealing with my mother-in-law, who's has got her own home. She lives over in Sunrise, Sharon Ryan, and sweet gal. And we're counting the nickels and dimes so she can stay in her house. And the reason I bring that up is I see that our taxes are going up and our city taxes are going up, at least on mine, and quite a difference from 2023. So I wanted to come and have a conversation with you about that, because I don't know how many retired households we have in our community. In Olivia, I would venture to say 50%. I look down my block, and goodness, I've got at least about 6 households or 5 in my block that are retired, and some of them still work. I'm not saying they don't do that yet. Kind of like me, I still work, and but I'm that retirement age. So I'm thinking about affordability, and I'm thinking that in some measure or fashion, what you need to think about is affordability for our seniors who are on a limited income in this town, and how they can stay in this town. I know 3 couples that retired and moved, 2 of them to South Dakota to avoid income tax on their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I even had a call one time from a fellow, and this was going on for a while, I think. We had a speeding ticket, and he calls me. I don't know how he got my name. And I said, well, tell me what you do. And he said, well, we manufacture product, and we recently built a plant in Sioux Falls, but our engineering is still in St. Paul. So I got this speeding ticket in between here. And I said, well, that's real interesting. Tell me, why are you in production? Well, he said, we figured it out, and we can pay for our factory there in Sioux Falls with the savings from what we'd otherwise pay in workers' comp and all that taxes in the state of Minnesota. That's what that fellow told me. He said, I believe it. This has been a couple of years ago already. So that's not that that's your issue. But I think the issue is affordability, and I want you to just to keep that in mind when you look at things, because people can vote with their feet too, okay? And this affects us in different ways, and just looking at what's happened in my picture, my house insurance has probably doubled in the last couple of years. I know my car insurance has went up at least $500-600. And I've even increased the deductible to get that reasonable. Groceries are down a little bit depending on what you do, but eggs have come down a little bit. Gas has come down a little bit, although diesel fuel is still up there. If you talk to any farmers or anything, 90% of our goods are trucked in this country. So we need our diesel fuel to come down, but that's not your issue either. But it's an issue that encompasses all of us called affordability and keeping those prices down so our seniors can live in our communities and thrive and not have to worry about, moving to Sioux Falls. Okay.
Yeah.
And we invest, your seniors invest in your community. My wife and I spent about $65,000 remodeling our kitchen this spring. I spent another 25 on a new roof. Some of that was covered by insurance. Okay, on a new roof, 25,000. So your seniors invest in your community, believe it or not, and local contractors were involved in that. Okay, I didn't go out of town. The lumber yard in Hector was where we purchased our cabinets. Okay. And we use local contractor and contractors. So we contribute to the community. So I'm saying, let's keep that as a focus on what we do and how that affects our seniors that are on a limited income, like my mother-in-law. I'll get there. I'm not there yet, but in a couple of years, I'll be locked into my retirement and plus Social Security, so I'm gonna have a set income. It's not gonna be infinite,
Right.
okay? It's gonna be finite.
Yeah.
So this affects us. So and what does that mean in your decision making? Well, I don't know. And I didn't come here to tell you how to do your job. I really don't want to do that. I don't want to second guess what you're doing up here. I really don't have the time, nor do I have the energy, nor do I have the desire to come down and sit here and gripe and complain about everything you guys do. Okay? So I don't want to do that to you. So instead of me complaining about one thing going on, I thought we'd have a conversation about this affordability and just simply kind of keep that in mind when you go and look at what's going on in the city and what's going on with our seniors. Things as easy as this. We just had a new seniors center. Maybe seniors could be allowed to walk in there. My last checkup, my doctor said, well, you need to cut out the snacks and you need to exercise more. Well, gee, doc, thanks.
Sounds like
So-
my life, yeah.
So maybe seniors could get into the center and exercise without a cost. That would help seniors.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's things like that you might not think of that we could do in our community that would help those people on a fixed or limited income. And I use seniors because that's the easiest and I know it the best. There might be some other folks too that are in our communities on limited or fixed incomes too. But that's what I'm speaking to. And I think it's going to become more critical. And I'll tell you why. I foresee, and it's just an educated guess on my part, that our tax dollars from the state may be shrinking or may go shrinking depending on what the federal government does. Because you exist a lot on that aid
A
to
lot.
townships and cities, don't you?
Yes,
That's a big item.
huge.
It's huge. And I can see with the state, the problems that the state of Minnesota is having. And by the way, I went to the accounting school at the University of Iowa. And you can't get out of there without an auditing class. And auditing is basically checking on services and accounts to make sure the dollars are going where they go. It's basic. It's not rocket science, folks. So when you hear that it's something strange or different, now auditing is a very simple process and quite frankly, it should be done on our state and local level to make sure that the tax dollars are going where they should be.
We
It's
do,
not-
we do annual audits.
Yep. Yep, and that should have caught some of what went on in the state, but that's not your issue either. But I think we're gonna get affected by it.
Sure.
It's coming, I can feel it coming, I can sense it, it's just an educated guess. But you're gonna be asked to do probably more with less dollars coming in, and how do you do that? On a governmental level, you either raise taxes or decrease services, you don't have a whole bunch of things to play with. You know, it's not like you got a product in the front window that you can change the price on. You've got services going out to your public. And it's either cutting those services or increasing the tax or both. And so that's how I see things. And so that's what I wanted to come and say, affordability, so your seniors can stay in their homes and be contributing members to our city and not have to think about moving to Sioux Falls to avoid the income tax on their retirement that's coming or is here.
Mhm.
You know, it's little things like that, and little things add up.
Absolutely.
So, and when you keep this in mind and when you decide on issues or projects or whatever, just think about how that impacts the community that's on a limited income. They only have so many dollars that they're gonna spend. And so with that said, I don't want to repeat myself, and I'm probably out of time too.
We appreciate it very much.
Any questions that anybody has?
I'd like to continue the conversation with you at, we should set up a time to have a conversation.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Okay.
I always appreciate when I don't have to pay you for legal services. Having a conversation.
No, what I always get a kick out of these folks that call me up and say, Mr. Reese, you have my case back in 2003. Remember me? And I go, well, there was quite a few cases in 2003. So I begin by saying, well, why don't you tell me a little bit about it so I can remember. So anyway, I've taken enough of your time, and I hope that you think about that.
Yeah.
And when you go making decisions about impacting people in our city.
Appreciate that insight, Kurt. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, anybody else from the public want to address council? Anybody online want to address council? Not seeing any movement there, so we will close down the public forum portion of the meeting here and move on to the approval of tonight's agenda. We've had the agenda here since Thursday, some minor additions on there, but right now, if anybody wants to move anything on the consent agenda for discussion, would be a good time to bring that up. Otherwise, I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Sorry. Motion's been made by Ferguson and seconded by Evers to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is set as written. Thank you, Craig.
Yep, see you guys.
Thanks. All right, so we'll move down to the consent agenda portion of the meeting here. It includes regular meeting minutes from December 1st, the Safe Assure 2026 proposal, the SEH 2026 agreement for professional services, building official contract, WAPA Rec Management Memorandum of Understanding, the mayoral appointment of Brenda Rouse to the EDA, mayoral appointment of John Bumgarner to the Planning Commission, a personnel policy update, the first reading of Ordinance 2, amending chapter 51 of the Olivia City Code regarding stormwater drainage utility, first reading of Ordinance 3, this 2026 3, pardon me, and ordinance amending chapter 152 pertaining to accessory buildings and accessory dwelling units, First reading of ordinance 4, an ordinance amending certain provisions of chapter 152 regarding lot size and density. Ordinance 5, first reading, relating to cannabis cultivator business. Ordinance 11, 2025-11, amending certain provisions of chapter 53 of city code related to garbage and refuse, and adding additional provisions, create a limited exemption. And then the actual refuse exemption form, then resolution 122 authorizing title and summary publication of ordinance 11. Resolution 123, which is approval of a donation, contribution. This is from Farmword for $600 to our fire department. Thank you very much, Farmword. Resolution 124, authorizing the purchase of pipe from JT Services for the electric department. All right. Call for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. It's a lengthy one.
Got just one discussion item, if that's all right, on the consent agenda? Is that?
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to say, so the WAPA REC stands for Renewable Energy Credit. And it's equal to 1 megawatt hour of electricity. And because the WAPA power, which comes from the WAPA dam, the rules were changed so that the hydropower now qualifies as clean energy. We get to go back and sell our RECs that we got for using clean energy and bring in more revenue to the city. Going back to 2005, was that
I
right?
believe so, yep.
So we can, all of those megawatt hours that we used, we can now
Retroactively.
sell them
Okay,
to other people where they can use them for carbon offsets. It's a market.
Yep,
And
yep.
anyway, it's more revenue for the city and it's good. That's all I wanted to say.
well, great job, PUC, thank you. And WAPA. All right. I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda. If there's no other clarification.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Ferguson to approve the consent agenda as written. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved as written. Moving down to discussion items, we'll be entering into the public hearing process for ordinance 2025-12. Related to the city council as a board of adjustment. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Excellent. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may recall from our December 1st meeting, so the city has previously had the city council as the board of adjustment for variance requests and appeals related to chapter 151, but there is a separate board of appeals and adjustments for chapter 152. And so we realize this kind of creates a lot of confusion for staff when dealing with various issues, as well as we struggle to currently fill our boards and commissions as is. And so we worked with our planning and zoning administrator as well as our city attorney to clarify the code, to clean up the code, to streamline it so that the city council is this board for both chapter 151 and 152. Pam, anything you want to add?
No, I think that summarizes it well enough unless anybody has questions.
There was one member on the Board of Appeals. We offered them a spot on the Planning Commission and you approved their mayoral appointment to the Planning Commission at the consent agenda. So we are making sure that our one member of that committee has found a good, useful committee to be on. So we're excited to pivot their membership to a committee that meets more often.
Elizabeth, I would also add to Mr. Mayor Council, I believe that this clears up some language inconsistencies between state law and what our code had read with respect to different variances.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, well, the process is that we have a public hearing for such a thing. So if anybody is here to talk about ordinance 12, now would be the time to come forward and address council. Anybody here to talk about ordinance 12? Not seeing any action here, so we'll close down the public hearing portion of this and reopen the regular meeting here and move forward with ordinance 12, amending certain provisions of chapter 151 of city code and chapter 152 of city code related to the council as a board of adjustment. I'll call for a motion to to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Howard to approve the amending certain provisions of chapter 151. We'll call it ordinance 12. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ordinance 12 carries. Moving on to resolution 125, which is authorizing the title, summary, and publication of ordinance 12. It'll be some good reading.
Yes, so this authorizes us to do a summary publication, so we do not have to print every single page that you all just approved. Saves the city a little bit on printing costs.
So, we need to make a motion?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded, I'll give this one to Ferguson to approve resolution 125. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution 125 passes. We'll move on to the first reading of ordinance 2026-01, the fine and fee schedule. Every year we come out with updates to our fine and fee schedule. And today is the first reading of it. It is available for review.
So, yeah, so I wanted to get everybody's opinion on this. There's been a little bit of reorganization this year to kind of make it a little bit of a cleaner read. Once again, similar to years past, any updates that we have been made is in red. I did send this around to city department heads for their review, for their discussion as well. And so after the discussion throughout multiple departments, this is kind of what we're proposing to you. The first one would be upping brush pickup, the special pickup per truckload to $200. Obviously, we do small pickup on the last Friday of the month, May through October. That remains free. But this would be if somebody does a lot of brush and wants Public Works to come up and dispose of it with our labor, with our truck, instead of bringing it to the city's compost site by themselves. So the increase would be to $200. And then moving down the list, we did add a section on nuisance violations. So we have been noticing this year was a new year for our nuisance process. We hit the ground running with a different form. We did realize that there are some people in our community who just won't mow their lawn without receiving a nuisance violation. And so there is a decent amount of staff time across multiple departments on keeping up on these nuisance violations. And so for these repeat offenders, for this repeat issue for the calendar year, we would like to add kind of an admin fee. So if you are that person who simply won't mow your lawn without a nuisance reminder, everybody gets one free. But then if this is a repetitive issue throughout the year, every time we send that, we would then invoice them. The other things would just be actual costs for cleaning up junk vehicles, refuse, weed, grass mowing. That would be their actual costs. But that's the administrative fee. We looked at some other cities, they have comparable administrative fees. I wasn't comfortable with putting them just on the bucket because I think people should definitely get a free warning before they go through, but this would again be for those repeat issues in a calendar year. Once the calendar starts again, clean slate, you get another free one. So that's what we have there.
Mr.
yeah.
Mayor, Council, can I just also append what Elizabeth said, that this does cover the staff time that's involved in that. So it's that, we're happy to give someone a quote unquote freebie, but there's staff time in that, and then continually having to follow up and send letters is a cost to the city. So this covers that staff time and administrative cost.
Thank you, Pam.
Yep.
Moving down, so in right-of-way management, the right-of-way street vacation request application fee, we increased it to $138 so that it's more in line with all of our other kind of land zoning application fees. And then what you see here in the pole attachment fees. So in 2024, we had passed kind of an amendment to Appendix A because we had this new process for our city business who was attaching to the poles. However, all of those new categories didn't make their way to the fine and fee schedule. Wasn't oversight on my part. It wasn't in the 2025. We're putting it in there for the 2026 so that we recall that these are the fees that exist to that. And then we recall that if we need to increase them, we do. So that's why you see all of those in red. They just weren't previously in our fine and fee schedule that we passed every year. The vacant lot, no impervious surface monthly charge. This is what we discussed at the last meeting to capture the stormwater runoff of lots. And then moving down, we put together, there were two separate categories for electric reconnect and disconnect fees versus water. We put them together for the sake. And then we had due to non-payment, 8 AM to 3 PM, due to non-payment after 3 PM or during non-business hours. But then we failed to have an owner request during business hours versus owner request after business hours. So that's why you see that in there. Continuing to move down, Appendix B for the land zone, I don't believe we changed anything. Appendix C, we did increase the public works equipment in discussing with public works and the electric department to be more in line with the market rate rental values. We also removed, we removed parking violations within the city at $20 because we're trying to get away from those administrative citations. And so when the police department issues a parking violation, it's through the state citation process.
Is that because that's what we have to do, or that's just?
It makes it
because we don't
easier to
wanna-
enforce. So if for whatever reason, we don't have a lot of recourse if you don't pay a city parking ticket, we have more recourse if you don't pay a state parking ticket.
How much of that state parking ticket ends up back
In the
Here.
city,
in the
yeah.
community?
Cheap.
No idea. We don't see that.
What about the city one?
I
Does
think,
that stay within
your
the city?
finance officer gets a check from them with no indicators of what it's for.
What's for?
We never see anything in our office for
Is it- Am I correct in saying that those tickets that were recently issued, $72?
it. Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I didn't know. But I've heard.
So we don't know how much of that we're getting back.
I don't.
Could we look into that maybe?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I'm curious. That's,
Absolutely.
And then if we do it, it just stays here, if it's city administered?
Yes, but if they don't pay it, we don't have a really good way to come back on them other than sending them a reminder that they have an invoice at City Hall.
And Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe under the state authority, there's more authority to tow. And
I believe so, correct, Chief?
Yes.
Yeah.
so that if there's a car that they're just ignoring us and it has to be towed for like a snow emergency or something, you have more authority to do that, I believe.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why would us as a city not have the power to tow somebody? They're on a city street violating an ordinance of the city. Explain that, please.
Well, so there's statutory authority, I know, to tow for junk vehicles or unlicensed, but I would have to do, that's more of the criminal, so I'd have to do a little bit of research into as far as towing, and I'm sure that the chief's in the room, I think maybe he could address that. Maybe there is authority, but the cost to the city to do that also would be something that the council would want to consider. So I don't know, is the chief in the room to address that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chief is
yep.
here.
We
Yeah,
don't have issues for the most part with having to get vehicles towed. Once in a great while, one will get left and we'll have to tow it because the owner's nowhere around. Typically they get moved fairly quickly, so it's really not something I concern myself with as far as actually towing them. That's a pretty extreme. We've done it we've probably towed more vehicles in the summer for overlay vehicles that are in the way than snow removal. If Craig or his crew comes to me and says, we need this out of here, it's gonna get towed. And we have X amount of hours where we have to do it, but if it needs to go for his purpose, we'll tow it, we'll eat the cost, and we'll pass it on to the owner, and if we're within our legal rights under civil city street ordinances, they'll have to pay it.
okay.
But there again, like Elizabeth said, we have no repercussion on people that don't pay.
And why is
city
it
ordinance.
$72?
Why
Yeah,
is
it's the state, so these, we've been told to get away from administrative citations. The courts have ruled them not to be fair, very questionable, if you will. So we've gotten away from administrative citations through a city, So therefore, all citations go through the state and the court sets the fees. The library fee, you know, the fees for service fees, library fees, so on and so forth, and or the fine. So we literally write the citation and they have to call a number on the citation to find out what the state fines them and the courts. So they go to their judge and they can argue their citation and he can say, okay, $20 or 72. You know, they go online and pay it. But it's completely out of our hands as far as what the amount will be charged now.
And it's because the state doesn't want you doing the administrative ones.
We've been advised not to, correct?
Third.
Again, the public works equipment, we've increased, in discussions with Public Works and the Electric Department about the equipment that's utilized, to put it up at a more market rate prices. And then in Appendix C, we've added, community center fees, community center rental rates, Cornland USA fees. The other thing we added, so, the park board, and Councilor Evers can also speak to this, has been discussing throughout the entire year about our athletic field rentals, particularly over at Jerks Park and JC's Park. There's a lot of city time and resources that go into maintaining these parks for the kind of super users, mega users of those fields. And so in working with the park board, we decided to increase the sports school leagues. So kind of an athletic, a school league would be charged $1,500 for the season for the field rental. And then recreational sports leagues, in hearing from the recreational sports leagues, when we did kind of a roundtable with everybody, we heard that their numbers vary so much across leagues. 212 baseball obviously has a lot, 212 soccer, not as much. There's also a 14U baseball team that uses the field. So because of all those discrepancies in numbers, we reached out to different parks and rec fields who did it, and they recommended a per player fee. So that when you register, maybe you have 20 players in your league, that's a $5 per player, and that helps get reinvested into the field. This council approved within my time here, $30,000 of fence repairs for those fields, right? Like these fields are a great city asset. We want people utilizing them, but we also need to recognize that we do a much higher level of upkeep on these fields during the athletic season to keep these fields as good a shape as possible for these groups. And so that's where, in discussions with the park board, where those two fees came in, and then we've kind of discussed that this is how we've been operating in the community center since it came on board. But if anybody would like to change that, speak to that,
Good question.
let me know.
So are we sure, is there a trail that can be audited? Coming back to Kurt, that would show that any of the fees that are paid at the baseball field go towards the baseball field.
They would go right back into the parks budget.
Parks budget.
The parks budget.
Okay.
And there's a significant portion of those fees that go into fields like fertilizing and stuff like that. So.
Okay, goes into the pool money that the park.
Yeah,
board
that the
control.
park board.
Understood.
Yeah, and I mean, they reinvest that in a number of our different parks and park facilities. Over the past 2 years, we have been really softball field heavy. Baseball field heavy.
Great questions.
Yeah. Any discussions on any of these? Anybody want me to go back to any page?
We ever looked at doing a lifetime golf cart or ATV fee rather than a 20 every year?
We've looked at that a little bit. One of the benefits of it being an annual is that as people update their information, driver's licenses, stuff like that, we have an annual check-in to make sure all of that information stays current and up to date. And so that's kind of a benefit to doing it on an annual basis.
I don't think that $20 really is a dent in anything for, and it all gets filed in a folder somewhere and nobody looks at it going until the next year. To me, I think we should either get rid of it or just do a lifetime and then be done with it.
I mean,
I don't know how everybody else feels, but it's not like that money is
Sorry?
checking a lot of boxes.
You check the stickers to make sure that they're.
If we stop
and
them,
things like
yeah.
that,
I couldn't even, maybe 2 golf carts got stopped and it was for kids driving this year. There was no follow up on stickers or whatever. I guess it's pretty low on our priority list.
Yeah.
As far as a registration on them. It's more of the underage kids driving them.
Is there any way that we might consider a like family deal for the community center? Or like Kurt said, a senior citizen deal?
So right now, the deal we have with with the community center right now
The punch
is
card,
the punch
yeah.
card, 10 visits for $20, so that lowers it to $2 a visit.
I'm
60
just saying, like if a family comes in with 5 kids, that's, you know, how many punches, even if you get the punch card. Like, is there?
There is a
Any way we can
family
consider
membership
that?
for Cornland USA, which is $125. We looked at kind of the comparables in the area.
And is that only access for Cornland USA? And you can't go to the gym and stuff?
Yeah. At this moment, I mean, if you'd like to just do an annual family membership
Or the community
for the whole facility, I would certainly recommend more than 125 though.
Well, we could leave the 125 for the Cornland and maybe
Yeah.
add another 125 for the gym area.
Yeah, it's up to you all if that's how you wanna do it.
There's something, not just throwing out
Yeah.
that number, but.
But aren't we doing a study on what it costs and everything to operate that facility?
Yeah, so we are still working through the process with the University of Minnesota, a graduate student and a professor about a business plan study for that. That does include rates and marketing and stuff like that, so. If we wanna wait for that study, which should be done in the next 6 months, we can certainly keep this how it is and then revisit it. Once we get that information to see how we wanna adapt to that study.
My goal, of course, is to get that thing to run just on the black. I don't need to make money with it, but I can't lose. Right, in my opinion, and so I have a hard time knowing what to set things to until I understand the costs.
Right, I'd like to just kind of pencil that into maybe we discuss it later on, because I think having a family membership would make it easier for families to come in and wanna use that, especially with younger
Sure,
kids that are, you know, at home with mom all day, that this gives them a break during the winter to run around.
Yeah.
That can't afford, you know, having a punch card every time for each kid.
No, I agree with you, and it was, once we do get that study, my plan was then to have us revisit all of this. Yep.
And I'm hoping that our big moneymaker on it is our big weekend rentals and all
Yeah,
that, so.
We've
Well, and I
been
hope people
picking
use
up in
Yeah,
rentals as the
yeah,
colder months,
absolutely.
so that's really nice. So,
Just like any new venture that, you know, this council decides to move forward with. You know, we all agreed that there's a lot of value in this community center. But we're not gonna be here forever, you know, we're 5 people that can be fired. Every 2 to 4 years, depending on what your position is. So the best way to, you know, get the best longevity out of this resource is to make sure it's not a big gaping budget hole for us to have to look, you know.
Yeah.
and we will certainly readdress this once we have the results of that study, 100%.
Yeah. Are we pushing advertisement on the rentals?
So the community center now has a Google business profile. And we are asking people who rent it to rate it through Google so that you see updated information. We can certainly, with the new year, be pushing it harder. Yeah, we can do that.
I think once the word gets out, people.
We have enough events under our belt that I feel like we have good systems in place on how to rent it. We have good systems in place for key check-ins. And yeah, I will say we've hosted birthday parties there, and the feedback has been every parent who picked up was like, "Oh, cool, how do you rent it?" So there is some excitement about that. So we can definitely pick that up going into the holiday and then January season. Yep.
That can be something advertising wise that can be added to the digital sign out here,
Yep.
correct?
I think for a while it might still be in the rotation. It was for a little bit, but I'll have to check to see.
You might consider putting a QR code on the wall somewhere that says how to rent me.
Information.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
Come back to the webpage and you can.
A big old rent me sign.
Yeah.
What's that?
You can do a rent me sign.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, we can just post it right in the door on the glass too as people walk up. So that's a great idea.
No. Rent me.
Yeah, we'll just now let the market guide us in a little bit. Okay, anything else on the fine and fee schedule for you all? Well, very good. We'll call,
It's just a first reading, we'll have to do the second reading of it at the next meeting, right? So we won't pass it tonight. This is what the next resolution is.
all right, so we're calling for a resolution for the public hearing for the passing of this ordinance.
I'll make a resolution for a public hearing to pass this ordinance
We'll call it resolution 126.
126.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Evers. To pass resolution 126, calling for a public hearing for the proposed ordinance amending the 2026 fine and fee schedule. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 126 passes. Moving on to 127, we've been working on this for a long time. We've spent a lot of diligent hours with staff and council looking at the budget and how that's gonna impact the property taxes for 2026. It's been refined and distilled down to something that we should move forward with. So here we are at resolution 127, the approval of the final 2026 property tax levy. You know, it's not politically
moved.
favorable. All right. Got a motion by Baumgartner,
Second.
seconded by Ferguson to approve resolution 127. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? 127 passes. Related, 128, the operating budget. Call for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Evers, seconded by
I'll second.
Baumgartner to approve the operating budget. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Operating budget has passed. Okay, now
For
we
the
get,
young people in the audience, we really have spent many hours going through this. It's very important. The budget is like number one, right?
yes,
So we're only able to go through this now because we've already kind of hashed out all the ways we wanted to get things.
For hours.
For hours.
It's 80 pages long. I just skipped the pages, but it's 80 pages long.
Now we came to the one that's after all the discussion.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you are.
yeah. It's the least favorite part of the job. All right. Okay, so now on to our favorite parts, the committee assignments.
Boy,
Oh, yay.
All right,
I
so
like the ones on.
This is just for discussion. We post these in the annual resolution that Jasmine does a great job putting together every year. So we just wanted to do a quick check-in to make sure people were happy with where their committee placements were standing, if anything needed to be changed, to let us know. Do you need me to zoom in? Are you having trouble reading it? Sorry.
yeah, I don't know, I have my eyes.
Is that better?
the TV's blurred, John, don't worry about it.
I am.
Maybe?
It's not you, it's us. I can see it clearly, but I'm
See,
further
it's
away.
fine.
That's.
That's what happened to me in fifth grade when I got glasses. The projector was blurry.
I don't have any problem staying with what I have, but if somebody wants to trade, I'd be happy to do so.
We have been this time around for some of the committees, we have been taking polls about their meeting time and dates to make sure that who we have in our committees, it still works for them and things like that, so.
So Main Street kind of take off this year actually, or?
That's the goal. We did get third Thursdays up and running from the Main Street program, so we are still slower start, but we are still working on it.
What does the technology committee do?
Nothing.
That's an alternate, I agree.
Don't believe we've met. For
We used to meet. But.
There was always problems with their technology.
The emails never got out correct, ironically. Nobody got.
Is it a good side?
With Councilor Baumgartner, it's probably like, well, we don't need it, let's not spend that. That's okay,
anymore.
that's why we only have a 12.5% levy.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Okay, great. Thank you.
No changes? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, moving down to committee reports, speaking of, any reports from council?
Full board meeting following this one
Yeah, we'll be,
on the full deck.
we got the pool board
Oh,
meeting
okay.
after this, so we'll let you know next hearing.
Is there,
meeting.
okay, so can I ooze into a committee I'm not on to ask any question? Is there any discussion with the school about things that can be done to reduce the operating costs?
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
I know.
No, there wasn't. Write that down right now.
Hold on now, I'm asking a serious question, I'm
I know,
sarcastic
yes,
response.
yes, there is discussion on what
Okay.
can be done to reduce it.
Cause
And
I,
also to increase things.
As well as to generate more.
Yeah,
revenue.
the main thing I think is, I think it's reduced down as much as it possibly can be. I think
Yeah.
what we need to do is increase the income
the use,
for the pool. Yeah, get the word out there. Maybe have some combo pack pool.
So that's actually
centers,
something that-
maybe
Yeah, the county,
combination.
HRA EDA just approved a feasibility study about assessing county-wide. Kind of wellness services, including the pool, the Olivia Community Center, the outdoor pool in Renville, things like that. To see if there is a way that instead of having one physical wellness center that the county was aiming for a couple of years, to do more of like a county-wide something, so. We are in conversations with the county and with the hospital on what something like that could look like.
And that makes sense, because if the county is supporting it, it kind of needs to be accessible to everybody,
Yeah.
and not everybody
well,
can.
and then just on the surface of it, it seems like it's a better utilization of assets we already have.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good conversation. All right, any other reports from council?
We met, we just went over our. Well, we haven't gone, we all came up with our priorities for next year and we'll discuss those next one and. That's about it, we didn't really,
Yeah, it's all
there
right.
was no action,
Goal setting conversation.
same with the park board, no real goal, anything, just. Thinking about next year priorities.
Okay. The planning committee did meet, we talked about adjusting lot sizes in those R1 and R2 districts. And along with that, we also talked about making some changes to city code regarding accessory dwelling units and other accessory buildings. Very riveting content.
And all those ordinances were on your consent agenda tonight.
Any reports from staff?
Yeah, I just wanted to report that starting in 2026, the liquor store will be closing 1 hour earlier, Monday through Thursday, so they'll be closing at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. I also want to announce that our electric department let me know today that they are officially out of the Chrysler building.
Hey.
So we did let them know, we were unsure of the timeline, so we have put in our 30-day notice with them that that is what our lease agreed upon. So we are closing out that chapter pretty quickly.
Does that mean the projects are done then?
So I wouldn't say that the electric department is fully moved into their new office in their shed. They've been painting that and things like that, but they were very eager to move into this space, so they've actually set up their desks in a corner of the shed.
oh,
Open concept. But they did just get their bathroom fixtures in, which is very exciting. We're gonna be able to reduce our porta potty expenses by 1 porta potty. Very exciting. So I mean, it's not open for tours anytime soon. They still have a lot of organizing, moving in work. So I wouldn't say it's like completely done, but they are out of that.
Yeah.
That garage.
I'd like to see it when it's time.
Oh, absolutely. We'll let you all know.
home now.
I also want to just give a shout out to a volunteer from our community, Carol Rothmeyer, who has decided to volunteer some time over the upcoming winter break to staff Cornland USA. So we will be putting it out there that we are able to have it open some days and times over the winter holiday at that fee schedule that's been suggested. So we're very grateful for her. We're still going through some applications that we've had for the part-time community center position. So we hope to have something for you for your approval at an upcoming January meeting. So it doesn't just have to be one person. We've opened it up. We said it's a flexible if you can grab, kind of grab a time here or there, we're open to kind of staffing it in whatever flexible model works. So, that's kind of the staff report.
Well, thank you, Carol. She's my neighbor.
Yes.
She's amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Chief, how are the streets?
Full of snow ice. We did get a call of a cat catching a bat in a house and they didn't know what to do with it.
Oh.
With the cat or the bat?
Yes.
Either.
I just thought you got yourself a pet bat now.
Yeah.
First of all, you can throw them both.
Yeah. No, we have enough cats on the
All right.
streets.
Okay, well, we're down to the notices and communications portion here. City Hall will be closed at noon on Christmas Eve, all day on Christmas and all day on the day after Christmas, everybody took off, so closing it off.
And time's up.
So it'll still be open.
That one I do have to go for, but a communication that I will put out there, this time of year is absolutely treacherous for your mailman. So please, please, please shovel, salt, et cetera, et cetera.
We're out of town, sorry.
Make sure the folks that don't use their front sidewalk where their mailbox is, your mailman is using that on a daily basis or mail courier on a daily basis to get you your mail. So if you clean that off and sand it, salt it, whatever necessary for our safety, it would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Howie, drive careful,
Thank
man.
you.
With no further business on the agenda, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Everett to adjourn. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
David.
Thank you.